Hey, and welcome back, Dora. The name meant gift from God, a cruel irony for a girl whose life felt anything blessed. A beautiful young girl with dazzling brown eyes and a contagious smile had always yearned for something she could not quite put into words. As they grew up, she realized it was love, the feeling of being cherished and adored by her family. But sadly, her story was far from picture perfect. She came from a humble home, struggling to breathe under the weight of poverty. Her mother, June, strained to provide and nursed her in the absence of her father, while Ali, her father, relentlessly chased a wealth that always remained just out of reach. When Dora was barely 2 years, June, suffocated by the crushing pressure, left a note, a fleeting goodbye with a neighbor, and then swallowed by the world, never to return. Ali, too preoccupied with business ventures, noticed only Dora's absence, never her presence. Hours bled into a terrifying loneliness as the neighbor, burdened by her own life, abandoned Dora. The whispers started then, a chilling chorus of superstition and scorn. Cursed, they said. Mark, Mrs. Nickel, always so kind, spotted Dora crying by the roadside and felt really bad. She cradled her home, fed her, and promised love. She gave her all the care she deserved and christened her with name, Dora Nickel. For 6 precious years, Dora knew warmth, security, and a mother's unwavering gaze. Then, tragedy struck again. Mrs. Nickel passed away, and her family just couldn't take her in. Dora, orphaned once more, was cast adrift. She drifted, a ghost in borrowed homes, trading her labor for scraps of food. Fate, it seemed, hadn't finished with her. A couple, burdened by pity, saw Dora wandering the street. Her big brown eyes filled with sadness tugged at their heartstrings, and they could not resist taking her home. The couple had a son, adopted her, dreaming of a daughter to fill their lives with joy, with plenty of love to share. So, they kept her name, Dora, which means gift from God. Pretty sweet, huh? The dream turned into a tough situation. The adoption felt like servitude. Dora was the housemaid, scrubbing floors while her adoptive parents indulged themselves, oblivious to her existence. Can you imagine? Deep down, Dora longed for something so simple, to be treated like a real daughter. She wanted those sweet bedtime stories and the comfort of being tucked in at night. Instead, she often found herself curled up on a mat outside the kitchen, sharing space with the family dog. But you know what? Despite all this, Dora held on to hope. She dreamed that one day, her adoptive parents would finally see her as their child. Maybe they'd surprise her with a pretty dress, or even better, a cozy bedtime routine. In her mind, she envisioned herself as a princess, even if it was just a fantasy. Heartbreaking, isn't it? Years eroded that hope, leaving behind a bitter residue of disillusionment. At 9, she faced the cruel taunts of schoolmates, branded dirty and outcast. But Dora was resilient, driven by an unyielding spirit. She excelled, defying their prejudice. Scholarships followed, earned through relentless study. Even as she continued her unending chores at home, her accomplishments invisible to her adoptive parents. This gave her a chance to attend a good high school. She became a prefect, a leader, but the endless demands left her drained, often falling asleep in class. As she managed both the school and the housework until she was exhausted, her health suffered under the weight of it all. Then came a glimmer of possibility. A vegetable vendor in the market square recognized her father. Dora, filled with a desperate hope, confronted Ali. He was surprised and said he'd missed her. She explained to her father, sharing her feelings and frustrations about the situation. He listened patiently and promised to help. However, he never kept his promise. A lie. Dora soon realized his father was as powerless as she was, as her adopted parents continued to exploit her. You see, he was already consumed by another family, lavishing upon them the love and attention Dora craved. He remained a ghost, never offering the small gifts other fathers did, never revealing the truth of her mother's abandonment. All these questions swirled around in Dora's head, making her feel unwanted and unloved. However, She yearned for connection with her adoptive mother. But the women only shouted. There was no emotional support or encouragement for her dreams. Nancy, the kindly vendor, fell ill. Dora, risking punishment, nursed her back to health. She adored Dora for being so hardworking and smart. It was Nancy who dared to ask, "Do you know where your parents are?" Dora's bitter reply, "They're dead to me, because they don't pay attention to me. They think I don't exist." I couldn't understand why my mother would leave me to suffer like this. As days turned into weeks, Dora began resenting her father for abandoning her along with her mother. She started dreaming of revenge, fantasizing about tormenting her parents and making them feel the pain of rejection and abandonment. However, upon waking, she'll feel guilty and question whether revenge was the right thing to do. Despite the turmoil in her heart, Dora continued to excel in her studies. Leo, the only son of her adoptive parents, returned home after years of studies from college and met Dora again. He helped Dora with schoolwork, gave her gifts, and made her laugh. Although she appreciated his kindness, she couldn't reciprocate his feelings as she saw him as nothing more than a brother. But Leo didn't care. He was infatuated with Dora and would often tell her how beautiful she was. Dora, taken aback by his sudden interest, tried to ignore him, but Leo wouldn't give up. One day, Dora's adoptive parents went out for the weekend, leaving her and Leo alone in the house. Little did she know that he had planned to take advantage of the situation. That evening, while Dora was studying, Leo approached her and started touching her inappropriately. Horrified, Dora pushed him away, but he didn't stop. Leo forced himself on her, against her will, despite her pleas for mercy. Afterwards, he felt arrogantly towards her, leaving Dora traumatized and violated. She felt really frustrated and couldn't walk. When she tried to tell her adopted parents what was wrong, they just ignored her and didn't give her a chance to explain. Leo threatens her that she should not tell anyone. Dora felt betrayed. She fled the house, ashamed and disgusted with herself for letting Leo use her. She wandered the streets aimlessly, not knowing where to go or what to do. Overwhelmed with fear and despair, she returned home and locked herself in the storage. Suddenly, she felt unwell and did not realize she was pregnant. In panic, she started searching for Nancy, who had recently fallen ill again. Days passed, and she couldn't see Nancy. She started feeling weird, with signs of pregnancy showing up. She asked her kind classmates for help, and they took her to a local medicine seller and bought some medications to induce abortion, trying to help ease this situation. She couldn't understand how to raise a child alone as a teenager and support herself. Unfortunately, the medicine didn't work, and she suffered severe abdominal pain. She fainted for hours after taking the pills, leaving her colleagues feeling lost and unsure of how to explain it. After some prayers and good vibes, she woke up, and they decided to head to the hospital instead of relying on locals. Worried for her safety, they visited the hospital a few days later. Dr. Musa checked her out and, after the exam, let her know that medication wouldn't work. She needed surgery to take care of the issue. However, he warned her that removing the child would cost her life. Dora was in tears, feeling hopeless about her studies. Dr. Musa said, "I get it. Avati's baby and I will take care of the child, while you focus on your school." She fainted when she heard the news, and the doctor was there to comfort her afterward, feeling lost and heartbroken after waking up. As everything fell apart, Dora chose to run away. Her adoptive parents expected her to do chores, but she sneaked out the next morning and never came back. She rushed to her big sister, Mary, who was staying at her boyfriend's house, looking for comfort, but was totally taken aback by how she reacted. Mary made it super clear. "Stay away. You're totally unwanted and unwelcome here." "I cannot help." Dora, heartbroken and desperate, dropped down the floor. Now, what'll Dora do next? How will she live the rest of her life? Stay tuned for part 2, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.